Welcome to the FANily!
Hi guys, Jen McGee and the Fangirl, and today I'm going to go over the podcast server that I use and why I'm leaving Whooshka. Now with Whooshka, I mean, it's a nice enough site to use for podcast hosting, but there's been some issues. Initially, I picked this site because they claimed to be free and they said that you could even make money off your podcast, which was very appealing to me. Those of you who know me know that I primarily work on YouTube, which is an ever-changing, very flimsy, scary place to be a creator. I've had so many sweeping policy changes just come in and mess up my viewership, just slap me in the face, hurt my income and everything. So I'm always looking for another way to sort of build my audience and keep people close. But I'm at the point where I'm actually about to delete my Whooshka account because, well, they turned out to be not so free after all. After I had this podcast for maybe a year-ish, a little under probably, they came back and said, oh, by the way, even though you've been hosting 2 different podcasts on here for months, the Fangirl Watches and Stay Tuned Going Nowhere, which I do with Tessa about Disney stuff, they came in after a long stretch of time and went, oh, by the way, we're going to start charging you or else we're going to delete your podcast. Like, uh-oh, I do not care for that kind of ultimatum. And it turned out that they changed their policy to where you either can only have one podcast, so I was already forced to move Stay Tuned Going Nowhere, and you can only have a certain amount of listenership each month before they force you to pay for your Whooshka membership. And I don't have the exact number in front of me, but I feel like it was a really low number. Like, oh, you only get 1,500 listens a month or something like that. Yeah, here, the free plan was very different when I signed up. Now you get 1 show and only 5 gigabytes of media library storage. And see, even though I already got rid of the other podcast, it's still showing a usage exceeded error, and it's just become a huge pain. I believe I've read that this is a Australian company, and I don't know, they are just really getting money grubby, and I have not made a penny off of this podcast, which was, you know, the reason I picked them. They said I could make money off the podcast and that I didn't have to pay them to host my podcast, and now it's completely different. So since they've messed around with me and I'm really frustrated, I am just gonna go in here and remove the podcast. Delete. Confirm removal. Confirm. By the way, I have all my audio files already saved, but if you are going to delete your podcast, make sure you have your backup copies. So my review of Whooshka in, September of 2020 is a big old 0 out of 5 stars. They have just become a very big frustration of a podcast company. I joined them to be partners. They decided to, go a different direction. I don't want to be part of that. So let me tell you about Anchor and why I moved over there. And again, things can change at any time. So maybe by the time you see this video, Anchor's a whole different service. But as of September 2020, and again, I've got really low plays because I've just moved over here in the last few weeks. But look at that. Look at that. They're not charging me anything, and I already have a penny pending in my wallet. But Anchor actually lets you make your own ads to put in with your podcast so that you do seriously make money. Again, that's only a penny, but that's out of only 6 plays. So that's not a bad return considering the size of my viewership. But not only is Anchor a website, it is also an app. It has so far for me been completely free. Yeah, I just double checked the settings page and they don't even have an option to upgrade to pay them for anything. So that's fantastic. If I go here to new episode, and this also works on your app, you don't need to have a microphone and something to edit it on. You can actually record your podcast right here through Anchor. And they have free music and sound effects you can use. They have access to your library. You can add in listener voice messages. And those are all some pretty cool features, but let me show you where I really, really like Anchor. If you go into the money tab, and of course, here's my glorious penny. Okay, immediately I was given 1 opportunity to record my own ad, and it was an ad for Anchor. I just sat down, they had a script I could use, and they said you only really have to read the stuff in bold, and you can kind of go from there. It has to be at least 30 seconds long. And even though I don't have 50 different sponsorships being offered to me right now, there's still potential for more to come as I grow my audience. And now that I've deleted the other podcast that is using the same name, hopefully this one will start showing up in search results and and becoming more findable, and eventually I'll get a decent audience. But let me just point out, $15 CPM for doing an ad for Anchor. If I went into YouTube and showed you my CPMs, they're usually about $7. Sometimes higher, but sometimes a lot lower too. So for me, this feels like the first time that a podcast could actually turn into something that pays off. And another cool thing about Anchor is that they automatically distribute your podcast for you. Like, you can get your RSS link and put it wherever you want, but everywhere I've tried to add it just to be sure, it's already there. So they're doing a really, really, really good job of keeping up with everything, putting you out there, putting you in front of an audience. Now, of course, because this is also called the Fangirl Watches, and I didn't want to change it because I have business cards with my podcast is the Fangirl Watches already, but so far, Anchor is starting to pay off. It has been very easy to use. It has had so many cool features. It's not asking me for any money, and I even get this cool landing page where it tells everybody where they can subscribe to me or listen right here on the page. So if you're looking at Whooshka versus Anchor, I mean, hands down, Anchor is a 5 out of 5 stars for me. Whooshka is a big fat 0 for me at this stage. I think they have ruined themselves. I think they are not creator friendly anymore, and they have never offered me any way to make money or even any way to make podcasts easily. It's all like, hey, hope you have the software to do this all on your own and upload it. And I will clarify, just so that this is not an issue, yes, I did record and make an Anchor ad, but that only plays on the podcast. I have not been paid to promote Anchor here in this channel. But hopefully that's been helpful to you new podcasters out there. Again, you've been listening to Megan ramble on like a crazy person, and we will see you next time, FANily members. Bye! If you had fun watching today's video, don't forget to subscribe so that you can see more, and let us know in the comments what other videos you might want to see in the future. Also, don't forget to check out our other channel, The Fangirl, where we talk about all kinds of movies, TV shows, and even books and comics. But viewer discretion is advised. See you next time, FANily members!